you find that there's a whole, not just a conversation, a whole economic motivation to make women afraid of their very lives. You've never heard anyone say, oh, it's not polite to ask a man his age. And what I realized is that as women of color got older, we may still look good, but we weren't being good. We weren't good inside. We weren't good with our lives. Like, we were looking at, this is where a lot of disease starts to, come in, whether it's diabetes or whatever. And this idea that just looking good was enough. Like, we can be in so much pain and having so many crises, and looking fly. So we're masking it. And there's so many messages for women, and particularly after 40, that you're supposed to disappear, right? Like, there has been this new conversation of being, fly and 40 and sexy, whether it's Gabrielle Union, or we're starting to have more examples, Halle Berry. But then there's something that happens late 40s and 50 where you'll disappear, right? And then maybe you may emerge 20 years later as like this, great ancient, locks flowing, Maya Angelou. But what about all that life in between? And it's so interesting for men, those are often power years, right? 50s, 60s, you're CEOs, you're becoming senators and presidents, and you're getting sexier, and from Idris, like when you get gray, you're like amazing. But for women, we make people nervous. Like when women age, we make younger women afraid of aging because we're reflecting them. We make men feel older because they're supposed to have like trophies, right? So if they're fly and 50 something, their wife is supposed to look like something else. So I think the culture has a hard time understanding where to put us. And I refuse to disappear. At the core of this whole idea about women and aging, it's about self-identification and having the courage to self-define and be in this continuous state of creation. When you look at nature, it keeps changing and evolving, and a tree one day can look dead and the next day is full of flowers. Like, I feel I'm like that. I'm alive. I'm an eternal being, and I can, it's never too late for me to grow, because that's what constitutes life, right? Is growth. So when people question your aging, they're questioning your actual growth. But I think there's a huge industry around keeping women afraid of their lives and keeping women separate from each other. Because when we start telling the truth, and that's what's interesting, we're having these amazing experiences. I see grown women doing amazing things, but you don't see it out in media and in the world. You don't see grown women having fun, really affording that bag, going on vacation, being friends. It's like, that's over. And it's not. It actually is really happening. But I think there's not this interest in seeing women's stories like this, and our stories beyond our use as someone else's object, or sexual objects particularly.